what to expect, and the offers you'll get in a buyer's market.
Guys, today we're going to be pulling back the curtain and showing you exactly what we're seeing in this market. It's not easy for sellers. You know, we're hearing a lot of things like, I never had to do this, or I've never seen this. So we wanna be an open book and show you exactly what offers we're getting so that you can have preparation and know what to expect if you're deciding to put your house on the market soon. So I'm Jessica.
And I'm David.
And we're your local realtors here in Orlando. And if you like what you've been seeing so far, our content, subscribe and follow. We want to hear from you. What questions do you guys have? Let us know below and we'll make a video out of it.
So let's dive right into it, guys. Jessica.
Some of the misconceptions that a lot of homeowners have is that they decide the price for their home. And although you pick the price that you want to go into the market with, ultimately the market, which is the buyer, decides what they feel the value of your home is. On top of that, you also have to take into consideration the appraisal. But we don't determine the price of your home. We can kind of tell you an approximate range of where we think your house is going to sell, but ultimately the buyer determines the market. So it's like, the way I can explain it is it's like the stock market. When a stock goes up to $5 and you're like, I'm not paying that, or I don't know, let's do something else like Apple. I don't know what it is right now, Apple, but let's just say it's $150 and you bought one for $50. You may not want to buy it because it's too high for you. So you might wait until it's a reasonable price for you. But you don't determine the price of the stock. You determine when you're going to pull the trigger on the price of that stock. So it's similar with a buyer. So that's the same mentality as a buyer. You can price your house however much you want, however price you want, but ultimately is whoever the buyer is going to determine
what they want to pay for the house. What they want
to pay, exactly. And you know, you'll get offers in. We always tell our clients, usually the first offer is the best offer. Mm-hmm. So I say try to negotiate that first offer. We're seeing houses stay longer on the market. So the longer you're on the market, buyers kind of know that
the more negotiation they want to do.
Right. So it's very important. I know we had one client one time that said, I think they were upset that we sold the house so quickly. And it's like, no, we sold the house quickly. That's a good thing.
Because we priced it right.
We priced it right. You don't want to be on the market for 120 days because what a buyer sees is desperation. This seller has been on the market for 120 days. Let me lowball. Let me ask for this. Let me do this. Mm-hmm. And that's when you lose your leverage in the market.
Right.
When you're just going into the market is your highest leverage. However, you have to keep in mind that we are in a buyer's market. So you're going to see offers, maybe not at asking price. They may be a little below. You might see offers coming in with seller closing costs. Mm-hmm. And why that's happening is because builders are offering incentives. They're offering buyers help to lower their interest rate.
Right.
To lower their closing costs. They're trying to get buyers out from not buying to come and buy this house.
Yeah, in this buyer's market, you have to be creative because buyers are coming in. They don't have the money to purchase these houses, especially with these interest rates. So this is why we get these offers with seller credits because the buyer needs to buy down some interest rate.
Yeah. So let's just say they ask for $10,000 in closing costs for the rate buy down. That can essentially help decrease their monthly payment by $200-$300. And that's huge in this market when we're seeing rates higher than what we've seen recently. And especially because the prices are a lot higher. So I guess a lot of the misconception that sellers do have is they own this house and they see all this equity that they've acquired or not acquired, and they think, okay, that's my money, but it's not your money until you sell. So you can have, it's like what happened in 2008. People had all this equity, and then 2008 happened, and then they lost all the equity. It does, the market, you're only affected by the market the moment that you decide to sell.
Right.
If you would have stayed in your house in 2008, guess what? You banked. The people that sold in 2008, they tell us all the time, I wish I would have kept my house, this and that.
Because then 2020 came around, interest rates dropped, the prices of the houses went up, but people were still buying. And the reason they were buying is because the interest rates were so low. So they can afford a $700,000 or whatever the case may be, they can afford it because
they were offering over asking, putting $20,000, $50,000 over asking.
And at that point, we were talking about a seller's market. That was a seller's market. 2020, 2021, 2022, and then around 23, that's when we started shifting a little bit.
Right.
Now we're going to get into some real life scenarios that have happened to us with sellers. The first one that comes to my mind is the one with the $1 million house, right? She was listed with a previous agent. They were listed about 1.2 million.
Yeah, she had done an appraisal prior.
She had an appraisal done, and it came out about the same price. The appraisal came out about $1 million and
That's
some
what
change.
they priced it at.
That's what they priced it out, right? But when she reached out to us and we sat with her, we told her, hey, listen, we think that your house should be around $1 million because that's where you're going to get more offers. And that's where we think it should be positioned at. She didn't listen to us. And we went back in the market for $1,200,000, right?
$1,150,000.
$1,150,000. So they dropped about $50,000. But when we went on the market, we didn't get no showings, no offers.
Well, we did open houses. And the thing with the open houses is we gather feedback, and typically we take that feedback and we give the client recommendations based on that feedback. And the feedback was that the house needed a ton of renovations. Nothing had been done to it. And honestly, there's three things that we can sells your house. It's price, location, and condition. They didn't want to invest money in renovating anything. So the next best thing was to adjust the price according to what the market, right? The buyers were telling us, the people that were walking through.
And we actually got her an offer. We got her an offer at $1,050,000. And I remember when we sat down with her and we told her, hey, listen, this is the only offer that has came in at this time. And it's actually a pretty good offer. Do you want to accept it? It's up to you. She said, no, David, I do not want that offer. I'm sticking to my $1,150,000. And we went right back on the market.
She didn't even want to counter. In this market, you have to be somewhat flexible, especially at that price point. We have a smaller buyer pool. Not everybody can afford a $1 million house or $1 million mortgage payment. And we had found this client. She had no realtor, so she was going to be saving on the commission as well. She didn't even want to negotiate. She didn't even want to counter that offer.
We went back to the market and we sat like another 4 months on the market.
4 or 5 months.
Until we got an offer. We got another offer and it was at $975,000, the first offer.
And we told them, this is your client. He has a background in construction. He's willing to renovate, do everything that needs to be done to this house. And this is going to be your best deal. Once you're on the market, she was on the market already with another agent for like 8 months and then with us for like 6-7 months.
So we're talking about a year and some change she was on the market. So people are already seeing this and they're already like, oh, let's negotiate.
So at that point they were fatigued and they ended up accepting a lower offer. But had she listened to our guidance, she would have been at a higher, she would have had more money in her pocket.
So this goes back to, when you hire an agent, you have to make sure you listen to what they say.
Not necessarily listen, but you have to hire somebody that you trust in their guidance, that they're not going to steer you wrong. This is why it's so important. When you're hiring an agent, you vibe with them and you trust them, because there are some agents that are not, they just want to sell and they just want to transact. And I get that that's maybe what people may feel, because sometimes we're passionate. We're like, this is your buyer. This is it. But in reality, it comes down to you have to find someone that you trust.
Right.
Because we're not trying to guide you wrong.
And guys, we do this every day. So we see this day in, day out. So for us, it's something normal, just negotiating, right? And telling them that this is the right offer or this might be the one, right? But like she said, that's why we have to find someone that you trust and at least to guide you the right way.
So in this scenario, they didn't net the most that they could have, but we were able to help them transition from their main house to downsize to another home seamlessly, same closing date, timeline. We even helped her out moving stuff. And that's what we do for our clients. We try to help you as much as we can. We do want to stress that you have to find somebody that you trust. This one is another similar situation. They were on the market with another agent. When we met, we advised him that he needed to be at a certain price. And that's exactly at the price that we sold, guys. We were on the market at a higher price point, and we were reducing, trying to get people in the house because there were no showings. Typically, we say if in the first 2 weeks there are no showings and no offers, the price has to come down or the condition, one of the two.
With us, you get weekly updates. Every week, we'll send you an update on what's going on in your neighborhood. And we had told him, hey, listen, we believe that your house will sell around this price. But we still kept it at that price that he wanted to.
Right, because at the end of the day, this is your investment. This is your house. It's ultimately your decision. However, we are going to tell you what we think professionally.
And also, we don't like to leave any money on the table because we can understand if we can get it sold for that price, hey, we want to help you guys, right?
Right. So fast forward to how long was it on the market?
It was with us. It was about 5 to 6 months.
5 to 6 months. We ended up at the price, $5,000 less than the price that we had told him initially. And the same thing, the house was not renovated and it was older. It needed new flooring, paint, in and out. There was just a lot that in this market, buyers just don't have the funds to do. So that's why pricing it where the buyer sees the value in the home, I can paint this. The price is not that bad. We need to show that to the buyer. But if the price is way too high, the buyer is just I can't afford to buy this house. And on top of that, renovate.
That's when the negotiation comes from the buyer's part, right? Because they see, the price is this, but I really know that in this market, I can probably get it to this price. And I remember our first offer that came in, she wanted $30,000 on top of the price reduction that we already had gave her.
Ultimately, we advised him, if you don't have to sell, this is what the market is looking like right now. If you don't have to sell, don't sell it because this is what the market is saying your home is worth.
Right. So guys, ultimately, we predict the price of your house, but the buyer is the one that's going to come and decide what this house is worth for.
Yeah, and what they're willing to pay for it. So these are the stories that we're seeing, and we want to be an open book to you so you guys can take whatever you can on a positive note. That way you know what's happening in the market and use it for your own advantage. That way you're not blindsided by when you put your house on the market and you're facing all of these challenges. We want you to not make the same mistakes. If you can avoid it, I would, We want to show you what's happening today in the buyer's market. And this next story is pretty good as well, too. This next one, the client listened to us. They had a meeting with another agent who I guess she did not explain the contract. We came in, we explained the contract. If you have any questions on the contract, you can always ask us. I always like to give a copy of the contract to you ahead of time. That way you can read it on your own time. And if you do have any questions, by the time we receive an offer, you've already have that question answered and you're not blindsided or not feeling like you don't know what you're signing.
Right. And a little quick thing about the contracts is they're usually in Florida as is.
They're standard.
Okay.
No, we have different contracts, but we typically use the as is contract here in Orlando. Now, as is doesn't mean you're selling your house as is. The buyer can still ask for repairs. They can still ask for whatever they want, right? Especially in a buyer's market. In a seller's market, they have less leverage.
This next story is pretty interesting in how it turned out. Even in a buyer's market, you can still get multiple offers if you price it right.
We advised this client that he could price at the higher price point. However, his house needed a lot of work. And we told him, if you don't want to
do any renovations,
do anything to the house, we can definitely sell it as is, but the price needs to reflect it. And so he said, okay, I trust you guys. We priced it at that. And we had multiple offers. The first one was over asking. We are in a buyer's market. So that buyer got cold feet and decided to retract his offer. But we went down to the next best offer, and it was at asking. And we closed on the house very quickly within 30 days. He did have some repairs that he had to do because it was an FHA offer. And with FHA, there are certain things that must meet
the requirements.
Like the house has to be safe and the house has to have all the main things functioning that make it a livable home.
Right.
So, but even with those repairs, David, with your connections, we were
able to get the seller a few dollars off, a couple $1,000s off on the repairs. So yeah, so going back to it, guys, we don't choose the price on the house, right? The buyer came in, saw that he needed some work, but also saw that the price reflected on the house. So for him, it was a no-brainer. He said, this is the one I wanted. And we were under contract within a couple weeks of putting the house on the market.
Days.
A couple days within putting the house on the market.
So with this house, we knew that we had to paint the picture for the buyer because it was completely outdated. It was from
it was original.
The 80s, right?
Yeah.
It was like from the 80s. So we used AI in our video and we renovated it in a way that it brought it back to current status. And I think the buyers saw the potential that the house could have. And we sold it.
Within days.
By the way, we also have another video that we talk about how we're using AI for our business. If you want to go watch that, click the link.
This next one, we sold this one in 9 days in a buyer's market. And let me tell you how this went down.
This one was listed with another agent too. And when we came in, we sat with them and they were so appreciative because we went through everything, what they were going to expect from the moment they signed to pictures to what was going to happen afterwards. They were moving their stuff out at the time. So we had to align all those dates. But essentially, we told them, listen, it's too brown inside. All the walls were brown. The kids' rooms were like a bright green. And buyers, sometimes they can't see beyond your house. And we need to create a clean canvas for them.
When I met them, they were in need. They needed some guidance. And I'm so happy they everything we told them.
From the beginning, I guess, they felt like we were so knowledgeable and we were explaining everything step by step, what we were gonna do and how we were gonna get the house ready for the market and what to expect. And they were so grateful to us. Like every step of the way, they were like, we're so grateful. Thank you for walking us through. This is the first time we're selling a house, so we don't know what to expect. And a lot of agents too, clients are not doing this on a regular basis. You buy and sell a house maybe like a couple of times a year. Not a year. You're buying or selling a house a couple of times in your lifetime. So it's not an everyday thing. So having someone that can break it down and really educate you on the process, I think, it's important.
So yeah, we saw the desperation in these people, that how they wanted to sell and they didn't have the guidance. So we met with them. we went to their house, we sat down with them and told them step by step on what we can do. Like Jessica mentioned, the house was all brown inside. It was really dark. When you walked in there, there was no light. So one of the first things that we told them was, hey, listen, I think we should brighten up the walls. They were dark brown. We painted the whole house white, did a nice little cleaning, and
so we have to go in. When we go in and tour your house, we go in a buyer's shoes. You live in the house, so that's your house. Those are all your preferences. So we have to go in from the buyer's perspective. We have to paint the picture for the buyer that this is their home, not your home. We're trying to sell it to somebody else. Can we depersonalize your home? And the way we did that was just painting everything white or a neutral color. Everything had to be neutral. And when they had already bought a house. So when they removed their own furniture, it was game time. I came in with a couple of accessories that I put around the house just to make it feel more inviting. But that paint, making it a clean slate, I think buyers can visualize themselves, their furniture in there a little bit more when it's not personalized to you.
Right. We pretty much left an open canvas, so when the buyer was walking by, they can just see themselves living in this house. And it helped out because within 9 days, we had this house under contract.
Full offer. And we're so grateful that we were able to help them.
Yeah, they couldn't even believe it that in 9 days we were able to get their house under contract. The moment we walk into your house, we are already thinking who can be the potential buyer for this house. This next story is a prime example of that.
So when we were doing pictures, I was texting this person about this house and even our videographer. We are always talking about your houses to everyone that we see because we're always like, okay, who can potentially know someone, right? And even my videographer was like, oh, I have someone. And I was like, okay, so we're going to do pictures this day. As soon as I get the pictures, I'll send them to you. But then I had another person that I was like, hey, I think you might like this house. And this person was like, I think I want to go see it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm doing pictures this day. Can you make it at the same time so that you can tour the house while we're there ahead of the market? And she fell in love. Although she didn't put an offer right away. We were on the market for a couple of days. This homeowner had invested a lot of money on this house, and life happens. And sometimes as a owner, you just have to decide, do you want to stay here longer or do you want a better quality of life? And that's what happened in this situation. They just wanted a better life. It happened to us with our first house. We thought that was the house that we wanted. And then we ended up finding out within 2 years that this wasn't the house that we wanted. So it was almost the same situation. Yeah,
they thought that this was going to be their forever home, and they spent thousands of dollars on renovations and upgrades in this house. Life happens, and they decided to move.
Right. So then we had to have that serious conversation with them, like, hey, the market is not how it was when you bought it.
And most likely all these upgrades that you did
are not going to add as much value or equal to what you invested in. And luckily they were understanding and they trusted us, which means the world to me, that they trusted in our guidance. But we did get a second opinion from another realtor that has 20 years of experience, just so that they can have peace of mind. And that's how we work in our office. Like, we're always talking to each other and helping each other. Hey, do this better, or you should do this. So when I reached out for a second opinion, because they wanted to price it higher, they were like, okay, this is a second realtor saying this. And I told them, look her up. She's been an agent for 20 plus years, and it was the same price point that we were telling him to put it. And so that they did it at the highest point. And we told them, if we don't get offers or showings, either or, in usually 14 days, we're going to need to do a price reduction.
Right. And that's why sometimes pricing a little high, guys, we're chasing the market, and we don't want to chase the market. We want the market to chase us.
Exactly, because that's where you have the most leverage. You can pick which offer is better, which terms are better, versus you deciding what the buyer is going to offer or what the buyer is willing to pay. You don't want to be on the market for 3-4 months and not have anything, because at that point, there's not much that we can do at that point. We're basically...
Right. And the buyer is not just coming in alone. They're also getting their guidance from their agent, and their agent is also guiding them and telling them where they should put an offer at. So it's just not the buyers. But go back to how they happened with this one. So we were on the market for about 13 days before we got an offer. We did the video, everything. We priced it at the price that they wanted to try. And we did get an offer. It was a low offer, and it came with concessions. They were asking for closing costs and credits. And it's just something that's normal. It's happening. The builders are offering that, so we're competing with them too. They're also paying agents 3% plus bonus. So those are things to keep in mind when you're sitting down with your agent and discussing, right now the law has changed and commissions are negotiable, but you do need to see what's happening in the market and what your neighbor that's listed across the street is offering or selling for. Let's go back on how we found the buyer for this client. She came a couple times to see the house, and guess what? She made an offer.
And this has happened to us a couple of times where we've been able to find the buyer for our client and help them save on their commission. We're always trying to think of who's going to buy this house. Maybe we know the buyer already. Maybe we can match make it where it's a win-win for both sides. And that's what happened here. It was a win-win. She loved the house and saw the value in it, and they were able to move out of the house, take as much equity as they could have. And we also helped them on the buy side with a new builder. We were able to reduce the price, I think,
by like $20,000.
We were able to put in a lower price offer and get them $20,000 in seller credit.
And moved into a brand new home, which till this day, they're so grateful. They tell us all the time, David and Jessica, you guys did awesome by us.
So with all that said, we wanted to show you kind of a few scenarios of what's been happening in the market. And we want to set the expectations so that you know what to expect in a typical buyer's market. We are seeing lower offers, and we're seeing offers come in with seller credits. And what those seller credits do is they help the buyer financially, because we are in a buyer's market. And on top of that, with everything that's happening in the world, it gives buyers uncertainty. So that little bit helps them pull the trigger and make the offer. On top of that, we also have to put into account that builders are offering even better things that a regular seller can.
If you guys have a topic or a story you guys want to talk about, comment below. If you're looking to buy a home in a buyer's market, this next video is for you. Click here.